Hey, legends, welcome to the Pot Noodle on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me tonight is Ian. How you going, Ian?
I'm good, Jared. How you doing?
Oh, we're covering both sides of the Tasman Sea right here in Australia and New Zealand. There you go. But yeah, living the dream, mate. Happy days. What's what's been going on for you?
Not a lot, really. Just sort of business as usual. The children are all sort of heading back to school. Three of them are back at school, with one more to go on Wednesday. And then, as I'm sure lots of parents will attest, it's just kind of a deep sort of breathing out, and thank heavens for that.
Yeah, fair enough. I hear that a bit, but yeah, don't envy that. Anyway, yeah, there's quite a bit to talk about. We didn't have an episode last week, so the transfer window. When's that finish up? Is it today or tomorrow? I can't remember.
It's well, for it's Monday night in UK, which is what our Tuesday morning.
Yeah, so Monday, 11 o'clock or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that would be, yeah, perfect. About 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for me. Happy days. I'm going to be distracted at work tomorrow. You beauty.
Or yeah, or just simpering with rage, of what we haven't done.
No, that's what this podcast's for. Like, we'll start off, Ian. How many of these bad boys do you think we're going to see? It's the transfer window bingo.
Oh, there's loads. We'll probably cover all of them, to be honest. But I said in the group chat earlier on, and it's like, what? It's like, why do we continually leave it till the last minute? And I think it's because it gives us the fear. It's like, oh, we're not going to get anybody. We're not going to get anybody. And then when we do get someone, ultimately, and they're kind of like the fifth or sixth or seventh or 10th choice, we're thankful that at least we got someone rather than nobody. So it's really clever of sort of managing our expectations, but it's just crap.
It's clever at managing expectations, but at the same time, it's absolutely rubbish way to do things. Like, it's tin pot.
It is, and we end up paying more money. We're getting people in a rush. That's why we've got the likes of Balakwisha, on the wage bill, not contributing. There's so many players that are not contributing.
We'll go,
Um,
we'll go through that. We'll start off with that talking point then, Ian, and then we'll get into it, everything, and we'll come back to the Falkirk game a little later on. But since transfer window, we'll focus on that to start off with. So, do you think that we're actively trying to reduce our wage bill? And the reason I'm asking that is because I've seen a bunch of WhatsApp messages floating around, and something that I've seen, I'm going to bring up. It says, Chris Mackay, is it? Is that the is
yeah,
the
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So apparently he wants to cut the wage bill. Now, realistically, if you have a look at, we got about 10 players who will leave one way or the other in the summer. Casper, the lone players, Maida, Home, likely due to his illness, Welsh, Palmer, Naroki, Ihanacho. So those guys will pretty much all be leaving then. But our wage bill is out of control. Like, when you compare it to other clubs of a similar size, like if you look at like your Ajaxes, your Club Bruggers, those sort of things, we're spending 60, 70% of our club turnover on wages. They're spending 40%. So I can understand why he wants to cut it. But the way that they're cutting it with the managed decline of the club, by, as you said, don't get the top two or three guys on a transfer list that's gonna strengthen it. Let's just get 7, 8, 9, 10, go down there and get two of them, pay more money for them, have to pay wages because clubs know we desperately need a player and we've got money. And the
yeah,
next thing you know, we're in this situation where we are now, where you got absolute rubbish on the pitch and your wage bill's blown out.
yeah. No, absolutely. It's kind of like like why. I mean, there's obviously the talk of like Engels maybe going, and they've done that a few times. There'll be a first team sort of start, or they'll get rid of right at the very end, which is kind of like we get a couple in, then we get a kicking the testicles, of losing one of the first team starters. So you supposedly strengthen, and then you immediately weaken yourself. And it's like you've got all these characters that lurk in the background on decent money. It's like I don't like you work in sort of construction-ish, and I work in construction and stuff. It's like you're on projects, and sometimes you have like jobs where like there's loads of guys on day work just walking around doing nothing, just because they're getting paid by the company, like by the hour. So companies will say, right, just get loads of lads on the job. That's kind of like what we're like. We've got all these lads just not contributing on the job, tossing it off, and then to balance that ineptitude, we sell like an Annie Engels or someone who's on a decent wage. It's not the way to do it. It's crazy.
And the players we're selling, we're not replacing with the required standards. Like, let's be honest. You have a look at like the was it the summer window just gone? Nicholas Kuhn and his performance yesterday, last season in the first half of the season through the Champions League, he was on fire. What
Mm.
do we replace him with? Alakwisha?
Yeah,
Tanekti?
and we
Are those
overpaid for both of them.
yeah,
Probably by double.
and those
So
guys, hey, there's the roof. But those guys
apologies.
oh, good. Those guys, you look at it and it's like, well, one of them comes in basically because Jota's out for the season, and the other one comes in to replace Kun. That's the way I look at it. And we've absolutely shanked it with those that sort of signings. And then when we get into the players and stuff we've got going on here, so you're talking about departures. So we'll start off there before we get into the inbound rumors and stuff. Because I went old school, everyone. I showed this to Ian beforehand. I actually wrote down a list of players that we've been linked with and different rumors and different things. Just this is just stuff that's been linked in the last 2 or 3 days. Okay, so this isn't the whole window, but if we're looking at it, departures. There's rumours of angles that you just touched on, Ian. So Nottingham Forest come in with a £14 million offer, and that was rejected. They come back today with a £17.3 million offer. That's also been rejected. So with that in mind, Ian, you say the club will sell. What do you reckon? They get to 20 million, they'll sell him. 22, 23 million, double their money, they'll sell him. More than likely, they will, because the player who's at that point where he'll want to make that move. It's not necessarily Engels, but there's other players there who should be sold who aren't. Like
Well, absolutely.
realistically, it should have been Maeda in the off season. It should have been Hatade. Like those are the first two I put on the list. Like, do they want away? But because we're not going to get much for them because of how poor they've been this season, Engels is the one the club's going to want to, chuck, sell him and pocket the cash.
Well, if we did sell Engels, it's like kind of the midfield three has kind of been a battle with, well, not a battle, but you kind of the three or four, the three positions, three berths for four players, and it's like being Hatate, Negren, Kalmak's obviously the nailed on one. Hatate, Engels, Negren, and Kalmak, so um, Rio is not playing very well at the moment. He's out of form, whether Martin O'Neill doesn't fancy him. So if we did get rid of Engels, it's almost like we've weakened the sort of the starting midfield berth by two, not just one. We're supposed to be going to try and win the league. It's like after the Nancy, debacle. All the good work that Martin did before he left has all been undone by Nancy. So we're playing catch up, and then if we shoot ourselves in the foot again by selling one of our best players, and I think he is one of our best players, I'd like to see him bulk up and get stuck in a bit more. That'll come with age probably, but if we let him go, it just smacks of exactly what the board always do, and we just have to suck it up. We have to suck it up.
I just look at it as well, like with the Engels scenario, and I go, I think one more season with us, whether it's under, if Martin hangs around for another year or the rest of this season with it, and then, as you said, get him bulked up, get a couple extra kilos on him of muscle, and just get a bit more aggressive. But say if he leaves, as you said, who fills that spot? Because do you see the club bringing in another midfielder? Like Martin O'Neill has actually said that he's still looking for another centre back before the window closes.
Yeah,
So he's already looking there because Stephen Welsh, with Trusty being out suspended for the Falkirk game, you're starting Dane Murray, and you got Stephen Welsh as your backup centre back on your bench. So clearly we need another centre back. But do you see us adding another central midfielder? Like the rumours are that apparently Celtic has approached Hibs for Josh Mulligan to be Engels' replacement. I can see that will just cause more upset and disdain from the fan base. Nothing against Mulligan; he looks a good player every time I've seen him play, and it's the
yeah,
same with Watson as well. From where is he, Killy?
yeah.
Those two look like some good quality young players that I would like for us to be going out and signing. The way Bayern go and scoop up good talent from within the Bundesliga, I want us doing that within Scotland if they're good enough. Case in point with Watson, I signed him in my football manager thing for Celtic on the weekend, and he's absolutely flying. So if that's something true, but I'm looking at it going, is Mulligan going to be on a hiding to nothing if, you know, we bring in a few loans and a few dribs and drabs here, and then suddenly Engels is out and Mulligan's your guy. They're having to replace him. Because if we don't bring him in, who are we left with then? We're left with Hatade, who's been out of form. We're left with Bernardo's going to have to play,
Yeah.
or Luke McCowan's going to have to play. Or we bring in Sean McArdle and give the young
No,
kid, throw
I
him into
like.
the deep end. And that's the one I actually think is okay. If we're going to sell him, Engels, let's put our own young kid in.
Yeah. But you've got a title to win, that's the thing. And it's like you could kill the kid before he even starts because, I'm all for blooding youngsters in, but at a club like Celtic, you've still got to win in parallel. I think it was Ajax that maybe I think they sort of said that they had a philosophy where they were going to go to the kids. So they were going to sort of take the hit of potentially not winning the league for a couple of years, which is what they did. But obviously it brought through a new sort of a new group. And the likes of Mulligan, he looked really good. He looked really good at Dundee. I remember when we played Dundee. I remember thinking he stood out. He was a real standout. But he should be being signed to complement and augment a midfield with Engels in it. As a young player coming in, with an eye on maybe replacing him next season. But not. Shouldn't be one in and one out, in my belief. And the thing with Engels as well is that we could potentially double our money, but if he's playing in the Champions League every year, we could start to push the 30 million mark. And I know people will probably laugh and scoff at that, but he's got that kind of ceiling. But look at Matt O'Reilly. He wouldn't have gone for the amount of money he went for, I reckon, unless he'd been sort of doing it in the Champions League. If it was the Europa League, you're not going to get as much money. There's a premium attached to performing in the Champions League. It's the top tier competition. It's like how you get the English Premier League tax. You get sort of some pretty. Look at Charlie Adam went down to the Premier League and was pulling up trees for Blackpool. Got moved to Liverpool, and he was just an average player. For Rangers, it showed you the embarrassment riches Rangers had if they let him go and he's going pulling up trees. So there's a certain thing where you kind of bathe in the English Premier League and you cost a fortune. I think the same happens with the Champions League. Celtic, the Celtic board, the Celtic hierarchy are shooting themselves in the foot, and therefore us as a club in the foot by not taking the Champions League qualifier seriously enough. And we're potentially paying the price for that as well. But yeah, I'll be gutted if Engels leaves, and Mulligan looks a good player. I'd like to let him to come in, but yeah, it should be together with Engels.
It's the production line we talk about, whether that's our youth academy prospects or whether it's young Scottish talent coming through. You got to have your star, bring the guy in, be their backup for half a season or a season, challenge them for their spot, take it over, sell the other guy, and off you go. But talking about your English Premier League tax, I'm just going to throw a couple of Scottish names out there for you, just as a laugh, just as a comparison, just to validate what you just said there. Ian, Jordan Rhodes
Yeah.
and Ollie Burke. There you go. People overpaying. So yeah, it's just a bit of a doozy there. But talking about bringing players in, right? So I'm going to throw a couple of little comments here. So we've been linked with Fares. I'm hopeless with his Kiademis from Frosino for £6.5 million. Right, that's the talk. Now, personally, I think that is too much for him, considering he's out of contract, but they have a club option to extend it. So more than likely they're going to do that so they can make the money on him. I think that's too much cash, right? 6.5 million for him. If Kieran Bowie's gone to Verona for £6 million.
Yeah.
So a guy from Hibs is going to the Serie A for £6 million. Yet we're going to have to pay 6.5 million for a guy from Serie B, second division there. I think
Yeah.
it's too much, right? Now, yes, he's a good player, but I wouldn't want to pay that. If we're going to do that, and the reason I brought him up, if we're going to spend 6 million, I would rather us just go, okay, you've got a certain player at Motherwell who's been linked with us, Rangers, and Blackburn in Tawanda Mo and Hesi. I'd rather we go to them and go, here's 4 million in Stephen Welsh, take him, be happy with that. And then the other 2 million or whatever it is, or 2.5 million that was, go and spend that on Bowie, as we just said. And now you get two players. You get your starting winger, who's absolutely lighting up the league, and you get so there shouldn't be much of a adjustment period for him. And then you also get Bowie, not Bowie, sorry, Mulligan. That's who I meant. You bring
Yeah.
Mulligan in, and there that strengthens your midfield as well. So then you can actually look at it and go, okay, well, Bernardo's been rumoured with a loan away. If he's not going to play for us, loan him out, and then you can bring Mulligan through, or you can bring McArdle through.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd rather do. If we're going to spend £6 million on that one guy from Serie B over at Frosinone, I'm like, no thanks. I'd rather get two guys locally, put some money back into Scottish football, and strengthen our team straight away. What's your thoughts on that, Ian?
So I missed the last bit of the question.
I was just
Could you
saying, so I'd rather us spend the money and strengthen our first team and put some money back into Scottish football than
Yeah.
spend 6.5 million on a winger from Serie B. What do you think's the best option?
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, look, it depends on how good the winger is. Imagine it was like a Paulo Di Canio type guy, and I know he's French, but whatever. But it's kind of like it depends on the level of the player. But I do, I kind of concur. I mean, Massimo Nisi is the one that I really would like to have seen coming in. He scored another two at the weekend. He knows the league. He's scoring goals. He's got his pedigree is from a Premier League background when he was at Leicester. He's scoring goals internationally in the AFCON. So it's I think Martin O'Neill seemed to like him as well. So if we just penny pinching, and in fact, this is no harm to Stephen Welsh. He's simply not good enough for Celtic. And he's doing well at Motherwell. So it's kind of like a perfect storm there for us to go out and pay the money that they want and use Welsh as a mate. Welsh goes into a team and plays for a manager that rates him and he's getting a tune out of him. And we get a player who's is the top scorer in the league. I don't know, but he's certainly up there. Just the type of player that we need, and again, it's that injection of fresh energy, as well as the player and the goals that comes with him. So, yeah, I'd see your point with sort of keeping the money within Scottish football, but at the end of the day, what I care about is what's best for Celtic, and if that player is from Scotland or he's from X, Y, and Z league, I don't really care as long as we go out and get them and get the best ones we can get within our budget. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm just having a look at some of the comments here. So, I brought up McArdle. I'm not saying he's going to be the starter, right? But there's some comments here saying, like
He's a good player.
Mark Duffy saying Engels is one of our best players. Why would we sell him in this window? And why are so many fans happy to see him go? Why? I don't agree. You got two Engel fans right here on this podcast, Mark. So, me and Ian are probably the two most Engels positive in the Celtic Down Under pod group chat. So there you go. And then McLaughlin saying, is it too much on young McArdle's shoulders at this stage of the season?
Yeah, I'd say
I
so.
think if we expect him to be the starter every week, yes. But if he's coming in to be like that young legs running, giving us like that rotation and off depth off the bench, then that's always an option. You get 5 subs, so could do that way. But yeah, this one here, smell the glove, is like for 6.5 million. Lorwell, who still runs the club, would have a heart attack.
Yeah, isn't it funny how as fans now we all seem to be like accountants? Like it's not we put the money in, but like I don't really give a shit as long as we go out and get the players. 6 million, 8 million, 10 million. If it's a good player, pay the money. I'm not going to try and haggle. I'm a fan. I want to see the best players I can on the pitch.
And that's the thing, Ian. Like the whole not another penny thing that the fans collective and a lot of us are going by at the moment. Like you look at it and go, is the club playing that as well? Going, not another penny going to be spent? We'll only go loan
Yeah, I know.
players. Like
Yeah.
I know that's, like, been done to death, that line, but it makes you think, like, it doesn't make sense, like, if there's a player there who's clearly good enough, like Maswanhisi or whatever however you say it, like, he is actually 4,000,000 is cheap for him. Like, we spent 5.2 or whatever it was on Balikwisha. He doesn't even get into games. So
It's like,
and then with this comment from Smell the Glove, the Huns will probably buy Maswanhisi today
yeah,
because they just go and sign players, and that's
I agree.
the cold hard facts of it.
And that'll be a hammer blow to us if they do as well. And I said that in the group chat the other day as well. I can see them going and signing them. But it's like, here's an analogy for you. It's like, one of your near neighbours is selling like a pretty smart car, and everyone's and they decide to sell it. Everyone's gonna give it admiring glances or whatever, and they decide to sell it. And we go, I'll chuck it off, in, and you just lowball them, and they laugh in your face. It's like, why would they accept? Is it just because we're neighbours that they accept like a lowball offer? Oh, I'm not going to pay you this much because it's because I know you. I don't know. It's like, why insult Motherwell? The guy's credentials are there for everyone to see, and we need a player like him. Pay the guys what they've developed him. They've given him the platform. We wouldn't have known about him if he hadn't been given the chance at Motherwell. So pay the money. I don't get it. But again, it's not Celtic. It's these guys, Lawwell and Mackay. Really, it seems that have got the power to do this, and I can only assume that they're Dermot Desmond or whoever's pulling the strings has told them to reduce the wage bill. That's why they're doing it. Unless Mackay's just trying to sort of brown nose and say, I'm going to reduce the wage bill and we're still going to win the league, But it's how he does it. If we do it this year and he ends up selling Engels and we end up getting over the line, it's in spite of everything they've done, and it's not sustainable. The house is falling down around about us. We predicted this for many a year when no one else can. People from afar on the periphery couldn't really see what we could see, but we could see this coming from a mile off. Now it's conceivably we could be in fourth now if Nancy was still in charge. We could be in fourth because Motherwell would have leapfrogged us.
100%. And the thing is, like, you've got Nicholson and Mackay, those two mucking around, and almost makes me think maybe Mackay's yearly bonus is based on him reducing the wage bill.
It's got to be.
It's
That was another thing I was saying in the group chat as well. Sorry, mate, to jump in, but it's like, why are these guys not on kind of incentivized salaries? They've taken a massive chunk, and it's like, if they were players, they would have been gone by now. We take umbrage with the likes of Barakwisha. He's going to get sold because he's not performing. But yet these guys in the executive department, they're underperforming every year, and they're still getting their salary. They're still getting the bonuses. Why don't we get rid of them? And then any other walk of life, you'd be punted.
Yeah, exactly. That makes perfect sense. I was just checking that no other transfers or anything had happened while you're talking there, Ian. But yeah, like if I was that bad at my job, I'd be on unemployment. Let's be
Yeah,
honest. And the thing is, it's not just those two because it ties into we're talking about the wage bill bloating. It's because we're taking constant punts of 2.5, 3 million. You get these guys, you bring them in on wages that no one else will pay. So if you've got to sell them, you've got to like give them a nice golden handshake, pay them off because
yeah,
no one can afford their wages. So then you get yourself in the shit because okay, we're spending rather than spending 8 million on a quality first team starter, we're spending 3 million 3 times and
yeah,
hoping one works and we make 20 million on them. Rather than spending 8 million and then selling that player for 25 million in 2 years' time.
yeah.
So it just makes no sense the way they're doing it. The problem we've got though, I just found out now, is Mulligan's actually injured until the end of February. So that
Okay.
that throws a spanner in the works there. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one here. But just to come back to some couple other little topics here, we won't spend 4 million on Maswanhasi, right? But apparently we're spending 4.5 million on Joel. I have no idea how to say this. Mavuka
Yeah,
from Lorient is a Norwegian winger. Used to play at Bodo Glimt. So we're
yeah.
spending 4.5 million on him, who's had no goals, no assists.
I know.
Yet,
Outstanding stat.
yet you're not going to pay 4 million, so less money for a guy in your league who's absolutely ripping it to shreds.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
Honestly, I don't know. sick and tired of talking about these guys. It's detestable what they're doing. This club, they're making us look like a laughingstock.
We
They're
are.
making us,
We actually are,
yeah.
Ian. We're a laughing stock because the problem is these idiots, these clowns, these people got no idea. They're tarnishing Celtic's reputation out there in the market. If we go to clubs like Frostenosi and go, "How much do you want for Gares?" or whatever you say his name, and they go 6.5 million, and we go, "Oh, we'll give you 1.5 and Stephen Walsh."
Yeah.
They'll tell you to fuck off. It's like
Well,
you go to Motherwell. What do you want for Marwan Hesi? Oh, he's not for sale. Okay, cool. No worries. Why bring got Stephen Walsh as a bargaining chip? Do you want him back? Okay, cool. Now I saw someone saying that they'd sign Marwan Hesi on a pre-contract. Apparently, he's got the same thing as well with the club option for next year. So we can't get him on a pre-contract. But yeah, like as Pegleg Lonergan saying, the word is that any signing over 3 million needs to be sanctioned by Desmond. It's absolutely farcical.
you would think that if anyone can, argue his case to Dermot Desmond, is Martin O'Neill. And Dermot Desmond is he's not been shy in spending money, and and it's like I don't know if you ever heard that story, but apparently before we got Wim Janssen, he went all out to try and get Alex Ferguson as manager to stop 10 in a row. And it's like I only found that out maybe a year or two ago, and that's the type of kind of thing he will do. He'll go out and just go for the best guy in the world. And I'm not saying he's going to go and do that now, but he's gone out and got sort of big name managers, and he's paid the salaries to go with it. So in that special bond that he has with Martin O'Neill and Martin O'Neill has with him, I can't imagine he would push back on Martin O'Neill. So again, without knowing the details, what is the sticking point? Martin O'Neill's been frustrated. He's made jokes and made light of a lot of the stuff, but at the end of the day, it's his neck on the line. He won't tarnish his reputation because we can see sort of behind the curtain, and we have them for a long time. But surely Martin can have enough weight to Desmond to get the players in that he wants.
I really doubt that the players that are coming in today are actually players that Martin 100% wants. Like, let's look at it. So far this season, we have Srirachi, we've had all season, right? On loan.
Yeah.
Then we've got Arahel, and we've got Scanvara. I've completely butchered it, right? But we've got those three on loan. They're doing well, right?
Yeah.
For me, at this stage, if we could sign all three of them, I would happily do that because I think they are all contributors to our first team squad. But you look at the other guys we've been spoken about with loans and stuff, right? So you've got Junior Adamu on loan from Freiburg. He's Austrian striker. We have him on loan with the option to buy. But then, as we mentioned earlier, you've got Mavuka coming in that we're actually signing him. And then you look at other guys that are out there, players we've been linked with and rumored to be linked with this sort of stuff. I'm like, do you really think every single one of these is Martin O'Neill wants these players? Or do you think it's a combination of we just have some players that are being clubs know we need players, so their agents are throwing them at us because our whole recruitment setup is absolutely cooked? Do you think it's that? Do you think it's clubs are coming to us? Do you think it's agents coming to us trying to drum up interest? Because some of these players we're being linked with, it's absolutely shocking. Like, there's players down here in the A League better than some of these guys we're linked with.
Again, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's very, very well planned and very well thought out. I think it's probably more like agents are approaching us, which happens in football, but it shouldn't just be your only route to market. But again, you only know a player when you know a player. When you see them play in front of you, like is it Vinchvara?
Yep.
He looks good. He looks good, and he's obviously had his problems in the past, but the things that I'd heard, apparently he was really hungry in training, and that was before he made his debut against Hearts. Looked good against Hearts, and he looked good against Falkirk. His goal was really well taken. Had to really readjust his body. It was kind of slightly behind him, and to angle it in, that's a mark of quality. And let's remember as well that he's not played a lot of football since I think November. So he could be a gem. So You never know, but again, when we're talking about the known quantities within our league, to get us over the line, and I said this on Axum last week, I think it was, I likened it to that season, was it 2007-8, when we were, I think we'd fall 8 points behind, I think it was Strachan's third season, we'd fall 8 points behind Rangers, and we had to play them twice, quite close together, and we beat them twice, and we won the league at Tannadice on the last day of the season. He went out and got Barry Robson, who I thought was in the Spad signing. He was Dundee United's captain. Said he bought him because he was a continual thorn on our side, and he was. And I think that was the same time that he got Paul Hartley and Stephen Presley as well. And it's like players from our league. Martin O'Neill did it as well. With Didier Gat and Mo Siller and players who had come in from other teams in the league that were doing all right and complemented the players that we already had already. So. I don't know. It's just the blame will come back to probably Brendan Rodgers. Paul Tisdale's been chucked under the bus, rightly so as well. What was he doing? He got lucky with Matt O'Reilly and probably dined on that for forever. So that's kind of the type of things that we'll probably have to look at and listen to, is the fact that if it wasn't for Martin, if it wasn't for Brendan Rodgers, this wouldn't have happened. But of course it would have happened. It's happening now to Martin O'Neill, and it'll happen to the next guy and the next guy until Nicholson and Mackay go.
Yep, 100%. And yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And yeah, basically the only way we can change things is to get these pricks out the club. Now, how we do that is beyond me. It's going to take a lot of effort from a lot of people in different ways until we get there. But yeah, we need change. But I'm just looking at my notes here, right? So I had one other thing here. There was an article from Chris Boyd. Yes, that idiot. Apparently he can write, saying that Celtic and Rangers not matching the deal and overpaying for Bowie with what Verona paid for him is good for both clubs and also good for Bowie. We're talking about within Scottish football, I think 6 million for him was too much. So I would kind of, first time in my life, probably agree with Chris Boyd. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Because the big giraffe, Ken Zavara's come in and doing well. Like, just look at him.
Yeah.
That guy's got the longest neck I've ever seen. But geez, it's I saw someone say you can always tell why he's winding his teammates up because it takes too long for him to wind his neck in. I saw that as well. Like, but good on him. Like, fair player, fair crack at it, getting out there and playing. And yeah, he's looking the business.
He does, and he looks that old saying. He's good feet for a big man. But he's like when he went his assist in the Hearts game, it was like a winger. The speed of a winger. And he put an intelligent cross in for us to score. So that was another pleasing aspect. I said on Axel as well. His natural gait, the way he runs, is awfully like Chris Sutton. And he's got like long sleeves, and he kind of it just really remind me of Chris Sutton. I'm not saying he's going to end up being the same as Chris Sutton, but it's not a bad comparison. If his natural body demeanour is like Sutton's, who was half as good as old Sutty, then we're on to a winner. Yeah.
Do you want to know who he reminds me of? You said Sutton, and I'm like, yep, that was the first one I thought of. But the other one I thought was he was a combination of, he's halfway between Sutton and Bayo from back in the day. I used to call him the baby giraffe, the way he would move and just looked awkward as he moved. And so he kind of gives me that vibe.
Right. Bayo went on and he did all right, didn't he? Didn't he not go to Watford?
Yeah.
And at Watford he got quite a few goals. He's banging them in, But again, it's like we were talking before about the sort of maybe McCardle coming in. I've no doubt these guys can wear the jersey. Whatever I've seen McCardle, I hope he does get a chance, and hopefully he's the future. Players like him, because he does look class. But the jersey, there's been players that have come to Celtic and Rangers. Let's be honest, and the weight of expectation of having to win every week. They just can't handle it, so they have to go back to somewhere where there's less pressure. So yeah, that's just the way it is.
So Kaiser's saying his headed goal was Sutton-esque, and then follows it up with if Sutton and Jan Vanagor had a baby. There you
Yeah.
go.
Well, it was like when everyone was saying, when we signed Nicholas Kuhn, he looked like a kind of um, a cross between Paddy Roberts and Henrik Larsson, didn't he? His face. It's like, and once someone said that, I just couldn't unsee it.
Yeah, it's a bit that way. It's funny when you just see different players and figure it off that way. But yeah, so I'm just having a look through. There was only one other transfer thing I wanted to talk about, which was there's been links for Trusty from Lazio and Fiorentina. Tell them to jog on, not for sale.
Yeah.
That's pretty much tied up all of the transfer stuff. Now we'll talk about some management stuff going on. So, yeah, in Scotland, David Martindale no longer Livy's manager, become their sporting director, and Marvin Bartley is the new manager there. So that's a bit of a interesting one. What's your thoughts on that, Ian?
Well, this is another one sort of talking about children going back to school. Before all the parents watching this, they'll probably know what I mean. If anyone watched Peppa Pig with their kids, there's a character called Miss Rabbit who does everything. Like he's serving the ice creams, flying the helicopter, all this kind of stuff. It's kind of like an in joke on Peppa Pig, and I think David Martindale was a bit like Miss Rabbit. I think he was the Sparky, and the first team manager, and the cook, the chef, and the candlestick maker and all that kind of stuff. So very much woven within the fabric of the club, but it's a lot of pressure and it's a lot of weight on him to try and keep the team in the league every year. But as a dedicated listener of Clyde Super Scoreboard, yes, guys, I confess it's my guilty pleasure. But I do like it. And Marvin Bartley's a regular contributor on it, and I really like the cut of the guy's jib. Knows his stuff. I think he's got a little secret leaning towards Celtic. He says he's a Hibs fan, but he seems very fair-minded. But listening to him sort of talk about football, his knowledge is really, really good. So I wish him very well, and I hope he keeps them in the league. But then again, it's that plastic pitch, isn't it? So maybe not.
Yeah, 100%. Another manager thing. Ronnie Dalio, what the hell are you doing, son? Seriously. Off to Maccabi Tel Aviv. You're better than that, mate. For fuck's sake.
Well, it's are they politically? I don't keep an eye on. I kind of stopped watching the news really a few years ago. I used to be an avid current affairs, gobbler up of newspapers and all current affairs and stuff. And sort of around COVID and stuff, I just thought, you know what, stuff it. I'm just going to just concentrate on football and music and just not get upset with stuff. And I'm not sort of saying that I don't care about things that are going on because I really do. Right is right and wrong is wrong, and I'm completely on the side of the Palestinian people. But there are human beings, and there are people, normal people within Israel as well, who've got football teams to support. So I'm assuming that there's a fair amount of people in Israel that don't agree with the regime in Israel and what they're doing. So, what do you do? We're all, of some degree. I'm an economic migrant. I migrated here because my wife's from New Zealand, but I'm still earning a crust here. Obviously, New Zealand is not doing the things. The government here is not doing the things that's happening in Israel. But I don't know. I don't know enough about it to sort of to really nail my colours to the mast about it. It's so whether Maccabi are in support of the government or not, I don't know. But if they are, then yeah, definitely a bad move by Ronnie, who's a good guy.
All I'm going to say, Ian, is why I reacted the way I did is it's got nothing to do with politics. It's got nothing to do with football. And it's everything to do with I know how loved Ronnie was by our support. And in the blink of an eye, bang, done. There's going to be a hell of a lot of our fans who are against him now. And that's the only reason I reacted and brought him up like that.
Yeah.
I try to keep the politics off this podcast as much as possible. And that's one for me where I am only bringing it up because I loved Ronnie. I thought he got the tough end of the stick. And for me, it's one where, yeah, he's just I'm just disappointed because I know he's going to cop absolute pelters for it. But anyway, let's change the topic.
Well, context is everything, isn't it? And it's like there's not everything in life is not black and it's not white. Some things are, like genocide is that is black and white. You can't do it, and do not ever do it, and to think that it's okay is not okay. But in terms of things like that, is that there is context. So as I say, I'll be interested to understand the terms of the situation he's in. But yeah, that's something I'm not really wanting to get involved in.
As Pegleg saying, what Delia does is of no concern of ours. Yep. Okay, we'll leave it as is there. Um, Europa League. We got Stuttgart in the draw. Funniest thing was that idiot Rangers fan who said he went on and booked like 50 hotel rooms for the 18th and 19th in Stuttgart that's when we're playing at home. So that was a nice idiotic move by them to his free cancellation though. So, we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, just I don't know, they're in some really good form. I think they're like 5th in the Bundesliga at the moment, and they're absolutely like banging in goals at home. So it's going to be a tough draw. But if we somehow manage over the 2 legs to get the job done and progress, then I think it's Porto and someone else waiting for us. So it's going to be an absolute tough run the rest of the way through. But yeah, got to get these players in. We can only make 3 changes to our squad. So you'd think Kensvara would be one of them. Arahau would be another one. So we can only bring in one more of these 2 new signings. So if it's Mavuka, I reckon he'll be the other one that goes into the squad because he's a winger for the Europa. And, Adamu will be left out of the squad, unfortunately.
Well, if we lose Engels as well, we can sort of kiss it goodbye. And it's like, I'm not trying to say that we're a one man team, but he really comes into his own in Europe as well. I think his vision, the passes that he tries, when they don't come off, obviously it's not good, but when they do come off, they are that touch of class that we really really do need, and it's helped us a good few times last season, particularly. So again, at Stuttgart, it couldn't have been a tougher draw out the two. Them and Ferencvaros. But again, it's like if we had this shot in the arm with some new players, and Martin O'Neill, his motivational, he was decent in Europe. Obviously not away, but he's always a decent record in Europe against some much bigger teams and much more well fancied teams. Obviously, he had a much better team as well. You never know. I'm not. I think it'll be our sort of the 2 games will be our kind of last of the European run. Personally, I hope they're not, but I think that Stuttgart will put us out.
Fair chance that happens, but, see if St. Martin pulls off another minor miracle for us. We could be on for something. But the thing with what is Robert Gibson saying? Engels is a knob, cheese and fairy bread midfielder. Okay. But
Disagree.
yeah, so Kaiser saying Engels is only 22. He has found physicality this season. He's worth 30 million with a 20% sell-on fee. One game for Forest and they'll cry 40 million. Yep.
Yeah, spot on.
I just look at it and go, the thing with what I've noticed is Engels, whenever we played German teams in Europe, he plays well. Anyone to think that, he's played against a lot of these clubs before and he
Yeah.
understands their type of football. So, yeah, got to keep him. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. So, we'll just crack into the Celtic Falkirk game real simple, real quick little chat. So, starting lineup was Schmeichel, Arahau, Murray, Scales, Tierney. Then you go McGregor, Engels, Nigren in the middle, and then Yang, Mater on the wing with Kenchbar up front. Bench of Sinisalo, McCowan, Iheanacho, Tenecti, Bernardo, Hatade, Forrest, Donovan, and Welsh. So me, when I was looking at that lineup, it was Murray straight away.
Uh-huh.
But the other thing I looked at and what I thought I saw, I don't know if how accurate this is. McGregor normally sits deep. What noticed was him and Engels were alternating who was sitting in the six, and so
Yeah,
Kelmack was able to step further forward, which
yeah,
in turn basically that midfield three, instead of it being a 6 and 2 eights, at times it looked like it was two sixes and a 10,
mhm,
and Nigren was just floating along in behind at the front there.
yeah.
And if that's at best how we're going to use him, that's the role Tom Rogic played for us for years, and I actually think that's his best position. Um, I thought first half we were pretty good. Both teams had their chances. A couple of good saves from Bainzo. Same with Schmeichel, and yeah, just great finish from Cansavara for his goal. Was about 5 minutes before half time. So yeah, overall, I thought we were the better team in the first half. What was your thoughts, Ian?
I don't know if I agree with that one. Falkirk seemed to play really, really good football, much like Motherwell. They played, if that was like a kind of a European team or a European game, and they were playing knocking the ball about the way they do, we'd be going, oh, look at the difference of these European characters, But they just haven't got that extra bit of quality. Was it Calvin Miller? Could have put one away from distance and things like that, but the young guy, the kind of the guy they got for from the Heriot Watt University, his header as well. That was a lovely ball in. So they could have had a couple of goals, and were lucky not to. I just think the strength of our squad maybe sort of showed in the end, but it wasn't as kind of like when we beat them in the cup by a good few goals. Was it four? Four we beat them by, and we've put four past them in the league as well. Um, and it wasn't as easy, and I think 2-0 maybe flattered us a little bit. Really played. I thought they played the better football, and when they hit us on the counter attack, like against Utrecht when they got their second goal, just like a hot knife through butter. It's just so quick and so easy to cut us open when we're on that transition.
Yeah, it was a bit hard for me, Ian. Like being honest with you, because I had the whole issue of my streaming service and Celtic TV, both of them being absolute rubbish for this game. So
Mhm.
yeah, from what the parts I saw, I thought we were better in the first half, but overall, second half, they got on top of us. We scored that second goal from Nigren at the perfect time to just as a settler. But yeah, both teams are making chances. This game was 2-0, but it easily could have been like a 5-4 or a 6-5 sort of game. Both teams made plenty of chances. Both goalkeepers were lucky to only, concede what they did in terms of Bain only conceding two, Schmeichel keeping his clean sheet, because the amount of times strikers and shots just had an ball just ended up straight at the keeper.
Mhm.
It was a good goalkeeping game. But the thing I do love is John McGlynn. Got to give him credit. Whenever they come to Celtic Park, they actually come to play. They don't actually come to sit back and park a bus, like hit us on the counter like everyone else. So credit where it's due to him and Falkirk, the way they play football. It's good to see proper football teams out there coming and having a crack at us, and then allowing us to actually play some football too. So yeah, I just want the build up to the Nigger goal was a nice little bit of 1-2, 1-2 back and
Yeah,
forward and everything from, was it McGregor and Nigren.
yeah.
And like Nigren being a left footer, normally plays on the right. Yeah, it was fair shot. I was really
Good
like
goal, wasn't it?
both
Yeah.
goals.
He likes the roof of the net, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Nigren.
yeah. No, it was good to see. So it's going to give some credit to some players where it's due. I thought man of the match for us in this game was Arahel. I thought he was our
Yeah, he
best player.
looks good.
I'm liking the cut of his jib. He's kind of given me, I think it may have been you who said, is it Geary vibes?
Wasn't me, no, but I do agree.
Guys said that in the chat. Is it Geary vibes? And now that that's been said, I'm like, yeah, I actually didn't think he was more Izagiri. It's going to sound like a bit of a strange one. Do you ever see Diego Laxalt after he was at Celtic and he went
No, I didn't.
and he started getting angry in games?
Right, okay.
That's the vibe I was getting. I think it was like when
Right.
he went back to Milan or something like that. He's an angry little fucker. And he's
See,
just got he just has that sort of vibe about him. He just looks agitated, but he's just he can play.
yeah, yeah. I was going to say, I thought Laxalt, he gets a bit of a raw deal. It was a bit of a strange time, but there was a player there. But yeah, yeah. But I know Araujo, I really like. I think it's yeah. I don't know. It's just it's kind of that exponential quality that we've been looking for. So yeah, it's more to come, hopefully, and hopefully these guys that come in are of a similar quality to him.
And we've got to ask the question about Nigrin. Is he like the worst highest goal scorer we've had at the club in the last like 2 decades? Or is he just like really good at being a combination of Tom Rogic and Olivier Ncham in that he just does nothing, floats around, looks like he can't be asked, and then all of a sudden, bang, pops up with some cracker.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's kind of why we end up getting these players. In Cham as well was another one who I liked. I think it was against Karabag. I watched him. It was at the game, and he bossed it. He looked really good. But the reason we've probably got these players is because they haven't got that extra level of heart and desire that we as fans really kind of want in a player. It's like we'd all quite often would probably agree that we'd accept a lesser player. I don't mean like Ralston lesser for heart and desire, but someone with some talent, but the heart and desire. So I think if Negren could add that, he's going to go for a lot of money. But maybe that's why we've got him.
£1.5 million for him. That's the sort of our board's wet dream, basically. There you go.
A really good find. And his numbers, his numbers, you can't really argue with them. But again, I am arguing with that, and I'm still saying I want more from him. Because the thing is, though, it's because we can see there's more in it. There's more to come from him, but it's in his head.
I just think he's. I'm going to go on a bit of a weird tangent here. You know how some players, they just look like they just have that lack of confidence at times
Hmm.
in games? He gives me that sort of vibes where he's the sort where he needs to do the Lee Griffiths, go to Turkey, get the hair replaced sort of thing, right? And come back and then bang in a 40-goal season because that's the sort of thing I look at him and go, he could be so dangerous for us. We get 20-goal a season player easy, year on
Hmm.
year on year. But there's just something about him where he just does the eye test. It just looks odd. Like, I don't know whether he just looks like he's not fit enough or when he pops up, it's just strange. Like, he just out of the blue, you're like, oh, yeah, what? We scored again. Who was it? Nigger and how? What? Where is he? I didn't even see him in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
There's just
It's almost
something.
like there's a touch of the super deluxes. I think sometimes that's the frustrating thing. Like Rio's a bit like that sometimes as well, where it's like he'll lose the ball and not track back. Like Yang did it not very often actually, but for the second goal for Utrecht, he went for a give and go, gave it away, and he didn't try and run back, and then they cut through. It's like the knife through butter. But that's the thing that frustrates me in the Grin. It's like it's effort, and it's like for the great things he does, great. I'm really happy with that. But if only he just fucking looked like he cared a bit more at times.
I won't hear a bad word about Yang. Yang is a beast.
No, I do. He's done a Scalesy, hasn't he? He's obviously watched the Liam Scales video DVD.
Yep, making an impact. How to make an
And that,
impact after almost getting sold. That's exactly what it was. Remember, Scales, he almost got sold to Aberdeen,
that's
and
it,
then
mate.
that season he broke out. And then it's the same deal this year. Almost got sold down to the Brum, and look, here we go. Yang Gang, it's official. Kaiser saying Yang Gang 2026. What's Robert Gibson saying? I'm going to shag Michael Nicholson's missus to see if that makes him pick up the phone. Good luck to you. I hope you get your hole. So 2 things left to chat about on the pod, Ian. So I know these are probably fake, but the leak of next season's home top, and then the away top, there was 2 leaks. There's this one, which is pretty
Yeah.
much been told that's fake. And this one here, which is the yellow and green stripes. If you get the yellow and green stripes, I will be if the not enough a penny's over, come on, Celtic, get rid of some board members so I can spend some cash. If any of those three are true, you can have my I'll open my wallet, you can just take all the money.
Yeah, I think the home one's probably real. I'm not that keen on it. It looks like the New Balance kit from 2017.
Yeah, there's a
Pretty
reason.
much exact.
It's 60 years since Lisbon.
Yeah,
It's
but
a
what the
60 years.
gold's for, and get rid of that bloody daffabet. You know, I hate it. I always try and get the shirts. Not that I wear shirts, football kits anymore. Get them for my children. And get without the sponsor is always great. Some sponsors make kits look cool, but that one certainly doesn't. But I don't know. I'm not the gold on it. Yeah, I like that whiteout version. That would have been more of a tribute to the Lisbon Lions having the whiteout, the badge whited out stuff than that. But those two kits there, I think they're fake. They do look good though, which is ironic,
The
really.
green, yeah, the green and yellow one, Ian. That's
Yeah,
because I'm Australian. That's our national sports colours. Like to me, that is just
yeah,
sexy as all hell, and I want that top, the green and yellow one. And
yeah.
I'm looking at it going, I'm coming to Scotland next season. I'm going to be over there. Let this thing be over so I can go in the superstore and just spend money and get tops and jackets and hoodies and everything and just load up.
Well, we did a on Axom. We did a This is Axom show. On the we like rated. I don't know if you saw it. Rated me, Paul John Dykes and Quinny did rated the home, the away, and the third kit this year. And if those three kits were coming out, I'd obviously, if the barn wasn't on, the two away kits, like I said on this show, when Adidas and Umbro used to do it as well back in the 80s, you'd have the same template, but it'd be for the three different kits. So they just change the colours. It's like if you get one template that looks good, like Man United did it and Liverpool did it in the 80s. Celtic did it in the earlier 80s. It's like it just looks mint. So if those two kits were available, and the ban was off, sorry, I mean the trefoil, I'd be buying both of them.
I'm just going to bring up some comments here. Kaiser's saying, seen the yellow and green one, epic, but not another penny more Celtic. Smell the glove, not another penny, don't be scabs. Who you calling a scab, mate? What did I
I didn't buy
just
a single thing for Christmas. Christmas came and went, and I didn't buy a single thing. I've not bought a single thing since it's been on.
I've been on not another penny thing since last season when I brought the bright pink goalkeeper shirt with Schmeichel one on the back for my wife. I've gone 2 seasons without buying anything.
Yeah,
So I have not given them a cent. But if
either.
this not another penny thing is over next season when I'm there, then I will be buying them. I'm not saying that I'm buying them at the moment, but anyway, people can
Well,
argue
it's
all they
the
want.
job. We've got a moral warrior keeping us on the straight and narrow, anyway, mate.
Yeah, I know, 100%. God forbid that I like a top and want to buy it if we're not protesting the board. Yep, 100%. Cool. So we're playing Aberdeen midweek. I think it's Wednesday night, Thursday morning our time. What are you thinking going into that game, Ian?
The sorry, mate, I missed the last bit that just broke up there. What was the last bit of the question?
Got Aberdeen. What are you thinking
Oh
going into
yeah,
that
Aberdeen.
game?
Sorry. So they're not having the best of times of it. That cliche again. It's like is it 15 games, 14 games we got left now?
Yeah,
Cup
something like
finals.
that.
We just got to churn out these results and wins, and hopefully with a few goals because the goal difference against Hearts is pretty shit. So we can't afford to lose any more games. That's the position we've put ourselves in. We've lost 6. Rangers have lost, was it 2 or 3? Motherwell have lost 3, and same as Hearts, or is it 2 Hearts have lost? But anyway, we've lost too many games, so we can't afford to lose any more games. We need a win. We've got to win. So it's a bit more pressure, but sometimes under pressure, you perform well.
Well, this is how bad it is, Ian. All right, Hearts have lost 2. We've lost 6. Rangers have lost 2. Motherwell in fourth have only lost 3. They're 11 wins, 10 draws, 3 losses, right? So that's the sort of thing there. And then Dundee United in 8th have got 8 losses. Everyone else is like double digits, right? So Aberdeen are 8, 4, and 12. We need that goal difference. Like we're 6 points behind Hearts. Goal difference for us is 20, positive 20. So we're 8 goals behind Hearts. They're on plus 28. So we've got to make some goal difference and some points. So it's going to be tough, but yeah, we'll get through it. So yeah, I'm thinking we play Aberdeen. It's about just getting the 3 points up the road, get the 3 points, get them on the board. On to the next one. These are the games that you don't remember if you win ugly at the end of the season. You just know that we picked up 3 points and that's all that matters. So for me, yeah, I think it'll be a 2-1 win. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of an interesting one.
What I'd love to sort of wake up to tomorrow, I was just thinking there that we are surprised and we've signed Massimiliano and we've recalled Naroki. I think he would do well under Martin O'Neill. I think he's a Martin O'Neill type player. And he's decent. He's a good defender. So I don't think we can contractually under the terms of the agreement, which is another brainwave. But yeah, if we sign Massimiliano, I think it's on for the league.
Yep, 100%. If we can get the job done, make it happen, and we're yeah, gonna absolutely it's all there to be played for. I still think we can win this. It's gonna take a lot of work. So anyway, what we'll do is thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it. Please hit the like button. Helps us with the YouTube algorithm, getting the show out there to more people. Comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know your score predictions in the comments for the Aberdeen game. And also for a laugh, put in the comments who your dream signing will be to wake up to tomorrow morning. If you're down here in Australia or tonight before you go to bed, who's your dream signing for Celtic? Chuck that in the comments. Ian, you got a final thought?
Let there be light. Final thought. I just hope that Martin O'Neill, his power and sway, is backed, and he gets players that he actually wants, because then it makes his job easier to try and get us over the line for this title. We're still in it, but if he's not helped and we're having to do this under duress, we can forget it. So support Martin. Support your local Martin O'Neill.
My final thought is this Tifo is class. Well played. Banish the traitors. End the bans. 100%. Hail, hail, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next pod.